Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So no real shop project this week. I've got some Q&A stuff that I thought I'd go over. I get emails, usually a few each day, which is fine. I love the emails and I'm always happy to help. So I'm always happy to answer those emails. But I thought maybe some of you could benefit from some of the questions that the others have had. And I'll just go ahead and start right at the top. And it starts off with one of my more recent videos on this jig. And the question was around this vertical strip that was on here. And it came up that I used glue as well as screws when I put this on. Now usually the bulk of what I use this jig for is 3/4. But the question was, wouldn't it be better to only use screws so that the strip is replaceable? And the person who asked that question is 100% right. It would have been better had I have not used screws, because it would have made this strip replaceable much easier. So in hindsight, I wish that I would not have used glue on this, although I think this strip's going to last me a long time before I have to do something about it. But the question was spot on. It was a good catch, and I probably shouldn't have used glue in that joint. So the next question up was around the zero clearance inserts that I did. And they wanted to know how the plywood ones, and mostly their question was around how the epoxy is holding up. And quite frankly, the epoxy is holding up great. I have zero issues with it. In fact, I built a couple of them now, one for 3/4, I think one for 1/4 that I did on the last project in the quilting desk. What I don't like about the plywood, and I don't know if this is going to show up on camera, is when you bring the blade through, they splinter pretty badly. So you got to run over them with a little piece of sandpaper or something, but they do splinter kind of bad. And in reality is, like I said when I did this video, I think if I were to do these again, I would do them all in hardwood so that I didn't have to wait for the epoxy to dry. But they work fine. The splinters don't seem to catch on anything, or as long as you sand them a little bit. Okay, the next question up was, in one of the videos, it could have been the slabs on the desk. It could have been in a number of places, really. And they wanted to know if it was okay to use clamps to pull a joint together where the dominoes are used for alignment. And to that I say absolutely. My personal opinion is I would rather use the clamps to pull those together than a hammer beating on whatever material it is you're trying to make look pretty. So that's just my 2 cents. But in my opinion, absolutely yes. Use clamps to pull those joints together. I'm going to skip that one for now. We'll do that one last. Got a couple of questions on my dust collection system. And the first one is if I'm having any issues with heat loss, especially being the dead of winter and it's 20 below zero. And they're also curious about, is it creating any vacuum pressure in the room? So to touch on heat loss, well, no, let's touch on the vacuum first. So on the vacuum side, for short duration stuff, I don't do anything to account for it, and I've had zero issues. I don't notice a temperature difference, none of that for short duration stuff. For long duration stuff, say a long milling session or something of that nature, I tend to crack the window for air makeup. And if it's a long milling session, and I'm talking, 45 minutes, then yes, I do notice a temperature difference. But the mini splits just recover that in a hurry, and they've been awesome. The mini splits have been fantastic. So no real issues. I guess when it was really cold, maybe I would I would break my milling sessions up a little bit differently than maybe I would in, say, the dead of summer or when the weather was, you know, comfortable temperature outside. But for the most part, no, it really has not been an issue. The other question on the dust collection front was, is the Nordfab worth the money? And man, that's a valid question, because the Nordfab is expensive. And I went with the Nordfab because I knew I was going to move shops. And in hindsight, I actually moved shops twice. So the Nordfab has really paid for itself for me. Now, if this were my final shop and I had no dust collection in here at all, would I go Nordfab? Probably not, because the price is that prohibitive. But because I moved shops twice, I can put this system up in a day. So in that sense, the piping has really paid for itself. Another question comes in that, well, I got my dog back here now. A lot of times they see the animals in the shop and they're kind of curious if it's kind of dangerous for the animals to be in the shop. And it can be. I don't bring them out here when I'm doing dusty or overly noisy operations. They love to come hang out in the shop with me, and if I'm chopping a mortise with a chisel or something like that, by all means they can come out and they can hang out with me. But if I'm running the table saw or doing a long milling session or something along those lines, the dogs don't come out here with me. So they're part of the family and they love to just hang out with us. So and we're good with that. And the last question I got was on the new table saw, and somebody was asking me how it's holding up. So anybody who monitors me on the forum, on my forum, or has the insights, know that I've had a lot of issues with this table saw. I don't know if I just got a bad one in the bunch, or if it's more a Powermatic issue on their quality control. I don't know. When the saw showed up, as you saw in the video, the four corners of the fence plates were broke. They still haven't arrived. The extension wing was warped. It still hasn't arrived. The door on the motor does not close. I actually have that wedged in place right now because I cannot make that close at all, and Powermatic doesn't have an answer for me. And the power switch went out. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the box back here with the new power switch in it that I still have to change out, and it would literally just shut off in mid-cut for no reason. So Powermatic customer service was good. I mean, they're always friendly to deal with, but it seems they're constantly sending me a part, and now I have to take the time out of my schedule to go fix that part. The last issue was when I was doing the zero clearance insert video, the riving knife wouldn't come out. So again, I called their customer support, and the guy was very friendly, but had zero clue as to why it would not come out. And Powermatic has never returned my phone call. Subsequently, I did get the knife out. The switch was just bound up. I think it was just a little bit too tight, and I've worked through those issues. But I was really disappointed in Powermatic's customer service on that front. So overall, like I said, I hope it's not a Powermatic quality control issue. I hope I just got one that was a little rough around the edges. And that brings up the next question is, why don't you send that thing back? Well, it's a fair question. But after I've worked through this many bugs, do I have a good saw now, or am I just waiting for another shoe to drop? I don't know. So I'm going to sit on it at least through the warranty period. and see how the saw holds up. And you know, if I'm done with issues, then and hopefully they fix some of the issues that I still have, like the door doesn't close. But that seems to be a known Powermatic issue, and I still have yet to find an answer for that one. So, and I'll replace the switch. I got the riving knife out. I got 0 clearance inserts that fit now. And by the way, I made my own because they're so dang expensive for that saw. $85 a piece for a blank insert, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. But it is what it is. So for now, the saw, once I put the switch in, is up and running and really doing fairly well. So we'll see how it does. But I've hung on to all the packing material, so if it needs to go back, it will go back. What would I replace it with? I don't know. I still hold firm on my comments in the original video on the saw stop stuff. I just don't think that's right for this shop. I would have to look into, there's a few out there that I would have to look into. I would look into Bali, I would look into Laguna, and I would look back to Grizzly. Frankly, you know, as bad a rep as Grizzly gets, I've actually had good luck with my Grizzly tool, so I would have to look at that. And that brings up the next question too. When I go to replace the joiner and the planer, am I going to go look at Powermatic? Man, I don't know. This table saw's left a little sour grape in my mouth, so we shall see. Anyways, I don't want to be long-winded here. I just thought maybe some other people could get some benefit of me answering these questions for more than just one person. So I thought I'd bring them up. As always, my email is in the show notes, and I'm always happy to answer questions. If you have them, feel free to send them. If there's a project you'd like to see done, by all means, send it. Let me know. Maybe that's something we can work in. I'm still building furniture for the new house and my wife's quilting room and the shop. So I mean, I do have a little bit of a backlog, but that doesn't mean that there's not some other stuff we can't do. So I hope that helps, and send me some emails. Until next time, guys, take care.